Hello students, this is Mr. Ueda. Welcome to this math tutorial. Please open Geometry Sketchpad and type in this title, Perpendicular Bisectors. Now to complete this assignment, we need to know two pieces of vocabulary. First one is we need to understand what a perpendicular line is. A perpendicular line intersects another line at a right angle. This is very important, the right angle part. And a midpoint. We need to understand what a midpoint is. A midpoint is a point exactly halfway between two endpoints of a line. Now we'll be demonstrating both of these concepts. Okay, let's click the line segment tool. Actually, before we start, let's go to the edit menu, go down to preferences, and we're going to change the angle degrees to units, and we're going to change the distance to tenths. Angles to units, distance to tenths under the precision column, and click OK. Alright, let's draw a line segment. Now I don't want you to hold the shift key, I just want it to kind of be at an angle. Okay. And then what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to measure that line segment. So you can keep it highlighted. You notice I didn't deselect. If you deselect it automatically just by habit, then you can click back on that line and go to measure length. Let's bring the length measurement underneath that line segment. Now it's very important that whatever line segment you have, it is an even number. Now I'm going to look in the tenths column and make sure that that's an even number. Okay. Alright, so now let me teach you how to draw a midpoint. So we're going to click on this line, it's very simple, and we're going to go to construct midpoint. And there it is. That point is exactly halfway between point A and point B, and we're going to prove it. So let's trace over these two line segments. So I'm going to click on the line segment tool, and I'm going to trace from A to this middle point here, which I believe is going to be called C. And then I'm going to trace from point B back to the middle to that point. It is yet unnamed because we haven't really done anything with measurements with that point yet. Okay, so now let's switch tools. Let's click on this line segment. Now you notice how the highlighting does not go all the way down. It's because we traced over and we're only highlighting this line. Let's go to measure, let's go to length. Now, if this is indeed the midpoint, then this number should be exactly half of this number, which it is. Now let's measure line CB, or line BC. Let's measure it, let's go to length, and there we go. These two measurements are equal, therefore this point is the midpoint. Okay. So let's just move these out of the way for a bit. So that covers this part, a midpoint. Now let's create a perpendicular line. So from the vertex C, we are going to create a 90-degree line coming out of line AB. So I'm just going to eyeball it. This is why I asked you not to use the shift key, because then this way it's a little bit more of a challenge. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to switch tools, and what I'm trying to measure is I'm trying to measure this angle. So let me use the marker tool and show you what I'm trying to do. I'm going to go from this line segment to this line segment, and I'm going to go from this line segment to this line segment. Okay, so let's measure them. So let's click on endpoint, vertex, endpoint. Let's go to measure, angle. Let's see how well I did. 88 degrees, not bad. Maybe if I move this over here and go to 90 degrees, and then let's measure angle BCD. Let's go to measure angle, and this should be 90 degrees as well. So now what we've done is we've created a perpendicular line. This line, line DC, intersects, in other words, it meets line AB at a right angle. We have a right angle here, and we have a right angle here. Now I want to try something that I discovered just by accident earlier. I'm going to erase these two marker lines, And now that I've got a 90 degree, I'm going to kind of re-click on the marker tool, and I want to see if it gives me the square symbol. No, it doesn't. Okay, let's try to we're going to try it on a different one. Okay? All right. That's our first example. So we're going to write a conclusion down here. So let's create a text box. I'm going to create a fairly wide text box. All right. Now what I want is I want to open the the symbolic notation box because I want to make use of some of these symbols. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the segment kind of symbol. See, what happens is it draws a line above whatever you're going to type. So it's kind of the opposite of underlining. So we're going to click on it, and we're going to go AC. And then we're going to click on it to turn it off. So line AC plus, and then we're going to click on the segment notation here, line CB, and then we're going to turn it off, equals. So what we just wrote is line AC plus line CB equals line AB. So let's leave a space. Let's click back on the line symbolic notation and line AB. Okay, and then turn it off. And line AC equals line CB. How do we know that? Because we proved it already up here. Okay, so I'm just going to delete that. And let's turn on the line segment and line AC. Turn it off, equals line segment CB. Turn it off, comma. I'm going to hit enter. Oops, got to turn that off. Therefore, point C is the midpoint of line AB. Turn it off, period. All right, so let's hit enter twice. All right, so let's come up with a different conclusion. We're going to now look at the angles. So angle ACD, we're going to compare angle ACD and angle BCD. So let's use the angle symbol here. Angle ACD plus angle BCD, angle BCD equals this angle plus this angle equals this angle, angle ACB, angle ACB. Okay? And angle ACD equals angle DBC, angle DBC, which equals 90 degrees. Comma, enter. Therefore, line DC, this line right here, line DC, is the perpendicular bisector of line AB. Okay? Line DC right here is the perpendicular bisector of line AB. Okay, so I hope that wasn't too confusing. Maybe I'll increase the font a little bit. I don't want it a gigantic size because I'm going to draw one more diagram here. Okay, so let's try another one. So this time I am going to allow you to use the Shift key. Let's click on the segment tool, and I'm going to draw a line horizontally. And then I'm going to measure it. So let's go to measure length. So this is called line EF right now, and it is 8.8 centimeters. So what I want to do is I want to make it quite a bit different from line AB. So line EF, now remember I've got to make it an even number. So I'm going to make it 10.6. Your line could be something completely different. Okay? All right, so let's create the midpoint. Do you remember how to do that? We click on this line and we go to construct midpoint. All right. Now we've got to trace these two smaller line segments from E to the middle point and then from F to the middle point. Now let's measure these two smaller lines. Measure length. Okay? And then click on this. Measure length. All right. Now are these two equal? Yes. And when we add these two up, mental math, they equal this. So what have we proved? We have proven that G is the midpoint of EF. Excellent. So now let's draw the perpendicular bisector. So this one's going to be easy because all I need to do is hold the shift key and draw straight down. Okay? So I'm going to switch tools and I'm going to switch on to the marker tool and I'm going to show that I'm going to measure from here to here. And you notice this is what I was trying to get at here, is that it changes from a circle or a semicircle to that square, showing that it is a 90-degree angle. All right. So let's measure it to make sure. Let's measure angle EG, and then this point, measure angle, 90 degrees, perfect. And let's measure FGH, measure angle, 90 degrees, perfect. All right, so we've completed both diagrams. So what I want to do is, I want to change the color of the perpendicular bisector. So I'm going to highlight on both of them, go to display, go to color, and I want to choose a different color. Okay? Also, I want to make these two smaller line segment measurements a little bit smaller in font. So how about something like that? Just so that it's manageable and it's not too crowded. Okay? Actually, I forgot to do something on this diagram. I forgot to measure our initial angle. My bad, sorry. I'll do that right now. And I'll bump that back up to size 18. Good. And then what I want to do is I want to take these smaller right angle measurements and then I want to make them smaller to 14. Okay, so I'm going to use this as a model to come up with a very similar conclusion here. So let's see if you can follow along. Let's create a large text box. All right, so we're looking at line segment EG. So let's click on segment EG and then turn it off, plus line segment this FG, line segment FG. Sorry, I got to turn it off, equals line segment EF. So line segment EF. And line segment EG equals line segment FG, comma. Okay, so let's review what we've just written. Line segment EG plus line segment FG is equal to line segment EF. And EG equals FG. EG equals FG. Therefore, point G is the midpoint of line segment EF. Period. Let's enter twice. All right, so let's talk about the angles. Let's talk about this angle and this angle. So angle EGH plus angle FGH, angle FGH equals angle EGF, angle EGF. And angle EGH equals angle FGH, and they equal 90 degrees. Comma, enter. Therefore, line GH is the perpendicular bisector of line EF. EF. Period. Okay, I hope you were able to follow along. Just go slowly. It does make sense. All right, so now that you've completed this, you've completed the lesson, I want you to go to File, Open. Let's click the down arrow, go to For Students, double-click Out, go down to UATA, go down to 705 Math, and I want you to open the assignment called Drawing Perpendicular Bisectors. And these are your instructions. Call me when you're ready. Make sure that you've typed in your name here. When you've completed this assignment, call me when you're ready to print. Okay, thanks for listening. Bye.